trying to keep up with all the best AI tools for coding, it just feels like a full-time job sometimes, right?
Absolutely. It's moving so fast.
And you, the learner, you want to be efficient, you want that edge, but you definitely don't need just, more noise and information overload.
Exactly. Finding the signal in that noise is the real challenge. Which tools actually make a difference?
Well, that's exactly why we tackled it for you. Today, we're doing a deep dive into this really interesting discussion that popped up on Reddit on our ChatGPT coding. It was all about finding the best AI coding tools.
Okay.
And we didn't stop there. We pulled in insights from other articles too, looking at AI tools for all sorts of tasks, just to get that bigger picture.
Good idea. So looking beyond just code generation,
Mhm.
things like IDE integration, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. We
Right.
looked at the Reddit threads, checked out articles listing different tools, even some direct comparisons between the AI models themselves.
Right.
So our mission today is basically to pull out the really actionable stuff, the recommendations you can actually use, whether you're, just learning code, stuck on a bug, or trying to seriously upgrade your workflow.
So saving you the legwork of sifting through everything yourself.
That's the plan. Okay, let's get into it.
Sounds good. Where should we start? Maybe with what the Reddit coders thought were the top AI models.
Perfect. So this one discussion, it started with a user, a Vaking Leaf, I think. They were asking about the best AI for C Sharp, JavaScript, and Kotlin specifically, accurate and reliable.
Okay, common languages.
And this one reply really caught my eye. It was from a developer, claimed 25 years of experience, which, carries some weight.
Definitely. So what did they recommend?
Their top pick, the best overall for just general coding tasks,
Yeah.
Claude 3.5 Sonnet.
Interesting. Claude Sonnet. And did they say why? What was the reasoning?
Yeah, and it wasn't just about raw power, it was more about consistency, I guess.
Consistency. How so?
Well, this developer felt Sonnet was less likely to just randomly start changing things or go off on tangents with simpler tasks. They said it didn't seem to get bored as easily as maybe some other models might.
Get bored. That's a funny way to put it, but I can sort of see what they mean. Some AIs almost seem to want a complex problem.
Exactly. Maybe it's the architecture or the training data, who knows? But it affects how they handle even basic stuff.
Okay, so Sonnet for general tasks. What about trickier situations, like debugging?
Ah, yes. For debugging, especially when you're totally stuck, they had a different suggestion. OpenAI's O1 model.
Oh, one model. That's not one of the standard public names, is it?
No, it's not. That was a specific term used in the post. It sounds like maybe an internal thing, or perhaps a specific way they're using an OpenAI model, maybe fine-tuned for analysis. It wasn't entirely clear.
Okay. But the point was, it's good for debugging.
Apparently, yes. Really good for getting unstuck on those nightmare bugs where Sonnet hits a wall. Could save hours, they said.
That's huge. Debugging can be such a time sink.
Totally. But there was a catch with this O1 model.
Ooh. What was the downside? Not good for writing new code, maybe.
You got it. They found it wasn't as good as Sonnet for generating new code from scratch. Could be more expensive, and maybe a bit unpredictable for new stuff.
Oh, okay.
Thinking was maybe whatever makes it great at analyzing existing code makes it less suited for creating it.
That makes sense. Different strengths.
Yeah,
Analyzing versus generating.
precisely. So the TLDR from that Reddit exchange was pretty straightforward. Use Claude 3.5 Sonnet for your day-to-day coding,
Right.
and pull out this OpenAI O1 model, whatever it actually is, when Sonnet gets stuck on a really nasty bug.
Okay, that's practical advice straight from someone in the trenches. So the discussion didn't just stop at the base models, did it?
Yeah.
People usually want to know how to use these in their workflow.
No, it definitely moved on. People were very interested in IDE plugins and extensions.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Tools that bring the AI right into the editor.
Yep. And one that got a lot of mentions was CodeBuddy.
CodeBuddy. Haven't used that one myself. What's special about it?
Well, it works with JetBrains and VS Code, apparently. And it does some cool things, like instead of just looking at snippets, it scans your entire code base.
The whole project.
Yeah, and puts it into a vector database, so it understands the context of everything, all the files together.
Okay, that sounds much more powerful than just looking at the current file. That vector database gives it semantic understanding across the project.
Exactly. And when you ask it something, it uses that knowledge to pick relevant files, not just code snippets, to feed to the AI. The idea is you get much better, more context-aware answers.
That makes a lot of sense.
Plus, it has full multi-file support. It can actually edit or even create several files from one prompt.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it shows you all the changes in a unified diff,
Yeah.
showing the before and after clearly. One person said it made 8 new files and changed 4 others from just one instruction.
Wow. Okay. That could be amazing for bigger changes, like refactoring or adding a feature that touches lots of places.
For sure. And get this, it has voice support too. You can talk to it.
Full duplex voice, so
Yeah.
like a proper conversation.
Seems like it. And they have a Chrome extension send to CodeBuddy, so you can use website content as context as well.
That's quite a feature set.
They also claim better code quality because they have this multi-step process apparently involving some kind of planning stage before it generates the code.
A planning stage. That suggests it might produce more structured, thought-out code. Interesting.
And if you're watching the budget, there's a free tier, though, probably with limits and maybe using weaker models like GPT-4o Mini.
Still, good to have a free way to try it out. Were there other IDE tools mentioned?
Yeah, Continue.dev and Cursor also came up. Continue.dev sounded like the one for people who love customization.
How so?
You can easily plug in different API keys to use various AI models with it, so lots of flexibility there.
Right, mix and match models.
And Cursor, especially Cursor Pro, got a nod because it offers a one-time payment option.
The perpetual license model. Some people definitely prefer that over subscriptions.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got options depending on if you want max customization or maybe avoid monthly fees.
Okay, so beyond the big models and the IDE plugins, what else came up? The discussion broadened out, right?
It did, both on Reddit and in the articles we looked at, people talked about a wider range of tools.
Makes sense. The AI landscape is huge.
Totally. Claude AI itself, just the general platform, got quite a few positive mentions as a strong ChatGPT alternative for coding stuff.
Yeah. What do people like about it?
Some said the conversations felt more natural. Maybe it understood programming nuances a bit better.
Okay.
But, it wasn't universal praise. One user did say they found Claude gave them longer code sometimes, and they had to nudge it more step by step compared to ChatGPT for one specific task.
Right, so experiences can differ depending on the task and the user.
Yeah,
Always the way.
definitely. A really neat trick mentioned with Claude, though, was feeding it entire GitHub repos.
How? Like pasting code?
No, by turning the repo into a PDF or Markdown file first. There's a tool called RepoPack that helps with that. Then Claude can basically read the whole project.
Oh, wow. That's cool. You could ask it to explain parts of a project you're new to.
Exactly. And like ChatGPT, Claude has free and paid tiers.
Good to know. What about OpenAI's latest, GPT-4o?
Yep. GPT-4o got mentions. People liked its formatting and how detailed its explanations were. Some felt it was maybe better for learning concepts.
So maybe better as a teacher.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Claude 3.5 Sonnet was seen again as the better sort of hands-on programmer if you already know what you're doing.
Interesting distinction. GPT-4o for learning, Sonnet for doing. Makes sense.
We also saw DeepSeek Coder V2 mentioned. Sounds like a potentially cheaper LLM option, maybe access through places like OpenRouter.
Right, more options are always good, especially cost-effective ones.
And other tools like Cody, which often uses Claude 3.5, and Aider, also used with Claude 3.5, got some positive buzz too.
Seems like Claude 3.5 is powering quite a few of these tools.
It does seem popular. And there are free open source options too, like a Devox Genie plugin for JetBrains and a command line tool called Override.
Good to highlight the open source side too.
Though one person did caution that ChatGPT can sometimes make simple things overly complex.
Yeah.
Said it sometimes needs really, really detailed prompts to get it right for simple tasks.
The importance of prompt engineering again. Garbage in, garbage out, or maybe just overly complex code out.
Right. And we should mention GitHub Copilot. It wasn't the main focus of that first Reddit thread, but it definitely came up.
Can't really talk about AI coding without mentioning Copilot, can you?
Pretty much. It's seen as great for just daily coding, right there in the IDE, suggesting things as you type.
Yeah, the integration is super smooth.
And an interesting point. Apparently, students and teachers might get unlimited access to GPT-4o and Sonnet 3.5 through it.
Wow, that's a huge perk for education. Access to top-tier models.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of tools and models being discussed just for coding. But AI is doing so much more now, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Those other articles you mentioned from RIS and True Digital Academy, they really show how wide-ranging AI assistance is becoming. It's weaving into everything.
Right, like AI assistants and chatbots. Bing AI, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. They all have free and paid versions, good for different things. Translation, analysis, brainstorming.
And integrations are getting interesting too, like Gemini connecting with Google Workspace.
Yeah, or ChatGPT Pro having those operators that can actually do things, like book a table. That's pretty wild.
It really bridges the digital and physical world in a new way,
Then there are the AI image generators, Bing's Creator, Adobe Firefly, Midjourney, DALL-E 3.
each with its own style, right? Some more realistic, some more artistic.
Exactly. And different ease of use, customization levels, then AI writing tools. We saw Write for short stuff, Pseudo Write for
And
fiction.
grammar checkers like Grammarly or Catproof, which even supports Thai.
Yeah, that was cool to see. Then design tools like Canva Magic Studio, Looka for logos, project management,
Right? Tools like Asana, ClickUp, Lark, adding AI features, usually in paid tiers, for task management, updates.
and email assistants. HubSpot's AI Writer, SaneBox for managing your inbox. It's everywhere.
It really is. Streamlining workflows seems to be the big goal across the board.
We also saw presentation makers like Gamma, voice generators like 11 Labs or Murph for text-to-speech, even voice cloning.
Voice cloning is advancing incredibly fast.
Scary fast sometimes. AI marketing tools like Ad Creative, music generators like Suno that makes music from text,
The creative tools are becoming really accessible.
and things like meeting assistants Fathom, Nyota that summarize and transcribe meetings. Huge time saver.
Definitely.
Video generators too, Synthesia, Runway, Filmora, Opus Clip for creating and editing video. Even infographic creators like infographics.so.
It's an overwhelming list, almost.
Yeah,
Which brings us back to a key point for you, the listener, cost.
absolutely. That's always a factor. We looked at that article, the one asking about getting value for 750 bat, which is about 20 US.
Right, a common price point for these premium AI tools. And it compared ChatGPT Plus and Gemini Advanced.
It did. For image generation, it found Gemini Advanced maybe more realistic, but stuck in a square format back then. ChatGPT Cluck was more flexible with sizes, but maybe more cartoonish.
Okay, stylistic differences again.
Speed-wise, Gemini Advanced was apparently much faster than GPT-4 N+, almost as fast as free ChatGPT sometimes.
Speed matters, especially if you're iterating quickly.
For PDF analysis, though, ChatGPT Plus had the clear edge at the time. It could pull insights from PDFs, which Gemini Advanced couldn't do then.
That's a big deal if you work with documents a lot.
Yeah, and for search info quality, Gemini Advanced seemed better, probably because of Google Search backing it up, plus it could show its sources.
Being able to check sources is crucial for trust.
Totally. And then extra features? Gemini Advanced offered more cloud storage, Google Photos, AI editing.
While ChatGPT Plus had the custom GPTs, plugins, running Python code.
Exactly. So the conclusion was pretty clear. The best $20 AI really depends on what you need it for.
Try the free tiers first. See what clicks for your specific tasks.
Yep. And that $20 a month seems like a common benchmark for the full-featured versions. Okay, let's swing back to coding specifically. The Reddit threads had tips for using AI to learn code too, right?
Yes, that's a great application. AI not just as a tool, but as a tutor of sorts.
Right, like pasting documentation URLs into an AI and asking it to simplify them.
Oh, that's smart. Documentation can be so dense sometimes.
Or asking it to break down complex ideas into smaller steps. And that GitHub repo trick, again, feed it a project as a PDF or Markdown.
And then ask it to explain concepts using that actual code as an example.
Exactly. Really practical ways to use AI to get over those learning hurdles.
Makes learning feel less intimidating, perhaps.
Could do.
Mm.
But we also need to be realistic about AI's limits, especially for creative stuff like writing. We saw that article on AI, writing pros and cons.
Right. It's important to understand what AI can't do well, too.
It mentioned AI still lacks that deep human understanding, emotional connection, real nuance. It can mimic, but maybe not truly grasp it.
And ethical points, too, like privacy when using AI for content.
Yeah, definitely need to be careful there. The main takeaway was AI is a tool to help humans, not replace them.
Augmenting our abilities, but needing our judgment and planning to work best. Human oversight is still key.
Absolutely. Okay, let's try and wrap this up. Quick summary of the key takeaways from this deep dive.
Sounds good. A lot to digest.
So for coding, Claude 3.5 Sonnet looks like a strong generalist. That OpenAI O1 model, whatever it is, for tough debugging.
Right. And IDE plugins like CodeBuddy, Continue.dev, Cursor offer different ways to integrate AI depending on if you want context awareness, customization, or a one-time payment.
Plus, remember, there's a whole universe of AI tools way beyond coding for writing, images, project management, music, you name it.
And cost-wise, around $20 a month seems standard for premium access. But the best value depends entirely on your needs and how much time it saves you. Experiment with free tiers.
And AI can be a really useful learning partner for coding, simplifying docs, breaking down problems, explaining real code.
But remember the limitations, especially for creative tasks. AI lacks deep understanding and nuance, and we need to use it ethically and with human judgment. It's an assistant, not a replacement.
Well said. So here's a final thought for you, the learner, to chew on. How could adding just one or two of these AI tools really change how you learn or code?
Yeah, what's that one pain point you have right now that maybe AI could help solve?
And remember, this field is changing incredibly fast, so keep exploring, keep experimenting. That's probably the biggest takeaway of all.